Abandoned for years, a once vibrant horse had lost all hope. Then, an extraordinary bond changed everything. An autistic child, seeking connection in a distant world, encounters this forgotten soul, and their journey of healing and transformation begins. What unfolds is a heartwarming tale of love, trust, and resilience that will leave you speechless. Stay tuned to witness a bond that proves the power of compassion can conquer even the deepest scars. The sun hung low on the horizon, casting long shadows across the abandoned ranch. In one of its crumbling paddocks stood a horse, his coat matted and dull, ribs visible through his frail frame. His eyes, once vibrant, now held a hollow, distant gaze. This was Spirit, a name given long ago when he was full of life and energy. Now, it felt like a cruel reminder of what he had lost. Spirit had been left behind when the ranch's previous owners moved away. Assuming someone would take care of him, no one did. Days turned into months, and months into years, as he survived on little grass and rainwater. His once powerful legs grew weak, and the spirited stallion who once raced through open fields became a shadow of his former self. Not far away, 10-year-old Noah sat quietly on the porch of his family's modest home. Diagnosed with autism at a young age, he often found solace in routines and quiet spaces. The world outside felt overwhelming, unpredictable, and sometimes unkind. His mother, Claire, had tried everything to help him connect with people, school, and life beyond their home. But nothing seemed to break through the invisible wall that separated Noah from the rest of the world. One afternoon, as Claire hung laundry, she noticed Noah staring intently toward the horizon. What are you looking at, sweetheart?" she asked gently. Noah didn't respond, but his eyes remained fixed on the direction of the abandoned ranch, curious. Claire followed his gaze and spotted the frail silhouette of Spirit standing in the distance. "Poor thing," she murmured. "No one should be left like that." Over the next few days, Noah's focus on the distant figure grew. He would spend hours sitting on the porch, watching Spirit, his usually restless movements still, as if entranced. Claire noticed the change and decided to act. Maybe this is something, she thought, something that might help him connect. The next morning, Claire walked with Noah to the edge of their property. "Do you want to meet him?" she asked softly. Noah hesitated, his hands gripping the hem of his shirt, a sign of uncertainty. But then, for the first time in weeks, he nodded. Together, they approached the old paddock. Spirit lifted his head weakly, his ears twitching at the unfamiliar sounds of footsteps. Noah stopped a few feet away, his wide eyes locked on the horse. Claire gently nudged him forward, but Noah stayed rooted in place, simply staring. "It's okay," Claire said, kneeling beside him. "He's just as scared as you are." Minutes passed in silence before Noah took a tentative step closer, then another. Finally, he extended a hand, his fingers trembling. Spirit, despite his frailty, seemed to sense something in the boy. Slowly, he lowered his head, his nose brushing against Noah's small hand. Claire watched with tears in her eyes, as a faint smile appeared on Noah's face, the first she had seen in months. As Claire and Noah returned home, she couldn't shake the feeling that something extraordinary had just begun. Spirit and Noah had shared a quiet moment of connection. But could that moment grow into something that would transform both their lives? The following morning, Claire found Noah on the porch, his gaze once again fixed on the abandoned paddock where Spirit stood. There was a newfound stillness in Noah, a quiet determination she hadn't seen before. For months, he had avoided interacting with the world around him, retreating into his own space. But now, something about Spirit seemed to anchor him, pulling him toward the outside world. "Noah," Claire said softly, crouching beside him. "Would you like to visit the horse again?" Noah turned his head slightly, giving her the smallest nod. It was all the encouragement she needed. Together, they prepared for another trip to the paddock, bringing along a bag of fresh carrots and a bucket of water. As they approached, Spirit lifted his head, his ears flicking toward the sound of their footsteps. The horse, though visibly frail, had an undeniable presence. His eyes locked onto Noah, and for a brief moment, the boy and the animal seemed to share an understanding that Transcended words. Claire handed Noah a carrot, gently guiding his hand. "Go ahead," she encouraged. Noah hesitated, his fingers trembling slightly, but eventually extended the carrot towards Spirit. The horse sniffed cautiously before taking it, his lips brushing against Noah's hand. A flicker of a smile crossed Noah's face, and Claire felt her heart swell with hope. The interactions became a daily ritual. Each morning, Noah would ask Claire for more carrots or apples, sometimes even drawing pictures of Spirit with his crayons. Slowly, the bond between the boy and the horse began to grow. Noah's once stiff movements became more fluid as he approached the paddock, and Spirit's wary demeanor softened with each visit. Claire watched from a distance, marveling at the transformation unfolding before her eyes. Noah, who had always struggled to connect with others, was finding a companion in this forgotten horse, and Spirit, who had been abandoned for so long, seemed to draw strength from the boy's quiet presence. One afternoon, as Noah and Spirit stood together near the fence, Claire decided to take the next step. "Noah," she said gently, "do you think Spirit might like a new home? Maybe we could bring him here to our farm." Noah's eyes widened, and for a moment, Claire thought he might retreat into silence, but then he surprised her. "Can we?" he whispered, his voice barely audible but filled with hope. Claire knew it wouldn't be easy. Spirit was malnourished and weak, and bringing him back to health would require time, patience, and resources. But as she looked at Noah standing beside the horse with an expression of quiet determination, she realized it was worth the effort. That evening, Claire reached out to a local vet, explaining the situation. The vet, Dr. Miller, agreed to visit the next day to assess Spirit's condition. "It sounds like he's been through a lot," Dr. Miller said over the phone, "but with the right care, we might be able to turn things around." The following day, Dr. Miller arrived at the paddock, her expression softening as she approached Spirit. "He's a fighter," she said after a thorough examination. "He's malnourished and dehydrated, but his vitals are stable. With proper nutrition and care, he has a good chance of recovery." Noah watched intently as Dr. Miller spoke, his small hands gripping the fence tightly. Claire knelt beside him. "This is a big responsibility," she said gently. "Are you ready to help Spirit get better?" Noah didn't speak, but his determined nod was all the answer she needed. That evening, as they prepared to move Spirit to their farm, Noah stood by the trailer, his hand resting on the horse's side. Spirit, though hesitant, allowed himself to be led into the trailer, his trust in Noah evident. Claire couldn't help but feel a surge of emotion as she watched her son and the horse take their first steps toward healing together. As they drove back to the farm, the setting sun cast a warm glow over the fields. Claire glanced at Noah in the rearview mirror, his eyes fixed on Spirit through the trailer window. She didn't know what the future held, but for the first time in a long time, she felt hope. Spirit's arrival at the farm marked the beginning of a new chapter, not just for the horse, but for Noah as well. The bond they had formed was undeniable, and as they settled into their new routine, Claire realized that their journey of healing and transformation was only just beginning. The soft, morning light spilled over the farm as Claire and Noah stood by Spirit's new paddock. The horse had spent his first night on their land. His fragile frame settled into a bed of fresh hay Claire had carefully prepared. Spirit appeared calmer now, his eyes less hollow, as if he sensed he was finally safe. Noah clutched a bucket of feed, his small hands trembling slightly. Claire knelt beside him, her voice soothing. "It's okay, sweetheart. He trusts you. Just take your time." Noah nodded, his focus entirely on Spirit. Step by cautious step, he approached the horse, holding the bucket out in front of him. Spirit sniffed the air, his ears twitching, before leaning forward to take a tentative bite. Noah's lips curled into a faint smile, and Claire felt her heart swell with pride. Over the next few days, Noah and Spirit fell into a quiet rhythm. Each morning, Noah would bring fresh feed and water to the paddock, sitting nearby as Spirit ate. Sometimes he would hum softly or draw on the dirt with a stick, his presence a calming force for the once abandoned horse. Spirit, in turn, began to seek Noah out, nuzzling the boy's shoulder or gently pawing the ground when he approached. Claire marveled at the transformation unfolding before her eyes. Noah, who had always struggled to express his emotions, now seemed to find solace in Spirit's company, and Spirit, once a broken and forgotten animal, was regaining his strength one small act of kindness at a time. One afternoon, Claire decided to introduce a grooming routine. Armed with brushes and combs, she guided Noah into the paddock. Horses love being groomed, she explained. It helps them relax and builds trust. Noah hesitated at first, his hands hovering uncertainly over Spirit's coat. But with Claire's gentle encouragement, he began to brush the horse's mane, his movements slow, low, and deliberate. Spirit stood still, his eyes half closed, as if savoring the attention. Claire watched as Noah's confidence grew, each stroke of the brush a small victory. "You're doing great," she said, her voice filled with warmth. Noah glanced at her briefly, his expression shy but pleased. As the weeks passed, Spirit's transformation became more apparent. His coat, once dull and matted, now shone with a healthy gloss. His ribs, once starkly visible, began to fill out as he regained weight. But more than his physical recovery, it was the change in his demeanor that struck Claire the most. Spirit, who had once avoided human contact, now greeted Noah with a soft nicker every time he approached. The bond between Noah and Spirit deepened with each passing day. One morning, as Claire watched from the kitchen window, she saw Noah standing in the paddock, his hand resting gently on Spirit's neck. The boy was speaking softly, his words too faint to hear, but his posture radiated a sense of peace Claire hadn't seen in years. That evening, Claire sat with Noah at the dinner table, her curiosity getting the better of her. "What do you talk about with Spirit?" she asked gently. Noah paused, his fork hovering over his plate. "He listens," he said simply. Claire nodded, understanding that for Noah, Spirit was more than a companion. He was a confidant who accepted him without question. One night, as the stars twinkled overhead, Claire found Noah sitting by the paddock fence, his arms resting on the rails. Spirit stood beside him, his head lowered as if keeping the boy company. Claire approached quietly, her heart swelling at the sight. What are you thinking about?" she asked softly. Noah looked up at her, his eyes thoughtful. "He's happy now," he said, "and I am too." Claire knelt beside him, wrapping an arm around his shoulders. "You've given him so much, Noah, and he's given you just as much in return." As they sat together, under the vast expanse of the night sky, Claire realized how far they had come. Spirit's journey of healing was intertwined with Noah's, and the bond they shared was a testament to the power of love and trust. But deep down, Claire knew their journey was far from over. There were still challenges ahead, and she couldn't help but wonder what the future held for this extraordinary pair. The crisp morning air carried the sounds of birds chirping and the gentle rustle of leaves. Noah stood by Spirit's paddock, a quiet determination in his eyes. Over the past few weeks, the boy and the horse had built a bond that seemed unbreakable. Spirit's coat now glistened in the sunlight, and his once fragile frame was stronger. But with progress came new challenges, and Claire knew it was time to push their journey further. "Noah," Claire said as she approached with a lead rope in hand, "I think it's time we let Spirit explore beyond the paddock." Noah hesitated, clutching the fence rail. Change was never easy for him, and the thought of stepping out of their familiar routine made his chest tighten. But when he looked at Spirit, who stood watching him with calm, trusting eyes, he nodded. Claire guided Noah on how to lead Spirit. "Hold the rope firmly but not too tightly," she explained. "He'll follow your lead." Noah's small hands trembled as he took the rope, but Spirit, sensing the boy's nervousness, remained still. Slowly, they took their first steps together, walking along the edge of the farm. The path was uneven, dotted with small rocks and patches of overgrown grass. Spirit occasionally stopped to sniff the ground or nibble on a tuft of greenery, and each time, Noah patiently waited before gently urging him forward. Claire followed at a distance, her heart swelling with pride as she watched her son and the horse navigate the unfamiliar terrain. Together, as they ventured further, they reached a shallow stream that cut through the edge of the property. Spirit hesitated, his ears flicking back and forth. Noah froze, unsure of what to do. Claire stepped closer. "It's okay, sweetheart," she said softly. "He's just unsure." Let him take his time. Noah took a deep breath, mimicking Claire's calm tone as he spoke to Spirit. It's okay. He whispered, we can do this. After a few moments, Spirit lowered his head to sniff the water, then stepped forward, splashing through the stream with surprising ease. Noah's face lit up with a smile, and Claire couldn't help but laugh. That was amazing, she said. Clapping her hands, Noah looked back at her, pride evident in his expression. He's brave, Noah said quietly. Claire nodded. And so are you. Their walks became a daily routine, each outing taking them a little farther from the paddock. Spirit began to regain his confidence, his steps more assured with each journey. But the greatest transformation was in Noah. The boy who once shied away from the world now stood taller, his interactions with Spirit giving him a sense of purpose and courage he had never known. One afternoon, as they returned from a walk, a neighbor named Mr. Harlan approached, a seasoned horseman with a reputation for being tough but fair. He had been watching their progress from a distance. That's quite the horse you've got there, he said, nodding towards Spirit. I've never seen one recover so quickly. Claire smiled. It's all thanks to Noah. He's been amazing with him. Mr. Harlan studied the boy for a moment before speaking again. We're having a community event at the fairgrounds next month, a showcase for horses and their handlers. You should bring Spirit. It would be a great experience for both of them. Claire's eyes widened. That sounds wonderful, but I'm not sure if we're ready for something like that. Mr. Harlan shrugged. You've got time to prepare, and from what I've seen, that horse and your boy have something special. Think about it. That evening, Claire discussed the idea with Noah. What do you think? She asked. Do you want to show everyone how far Spirit has come? Noah bit his lip, his hands fidgeting nervously. Will there be a lot of people? He asked. Claire nodded. It might be, but you won't be alone. Spirit will be with you every step of the way. Noah looked at Spirit, who stood peacefully in his stall. After a long pause, he whispered, okay, let's do it. Claire hugged him tightly. I'm so proud of you, she said. We'll make sure you're both ready. Over the next few weeks, Claire and Noah worked tirelessly to prepare Spirit for the showcase. They practiced walking in different environments, introducing Spirit to new sounds and sights to ensure he wouldn't be startled. Noah even started speaking more, giving Spirit commands with a steady voice that surprised even Claire. The day of the showcase approached quickly, and while nerves lingered, there was an undeniable excitement in the air. Claire knew this would be a defining moment for both Noah and Spirit, a chance to show not just how far they had come, but how much they had grown together. As the showcase day dawned, Noah and Spirit stood at the edge of a new challenge. Would their bond be enough to face the pressures of the crowd and the spotlight, or would the fear of the unknown hold them back? The morning of the showcase arrived with a buzz of anticipation. The fairgrounds were alive with activity, bright banners waved in the breeze. Children's laughter echoed in the air, and the rhythmic clatter of hooves on packed dirt filled the arena. Noah stood near the trailer, clutching the lead rope with trembling hands, while Spirit stood calm and steady beside him. Claire knelt to meet Noah's eye level, her voice soft but firm. You've done so much to get here, Noah. Spirit trusts you, and I trust you, no matter what happens. You've already won. Noah looked at Spirit, who nuzzled his shoulder gently, as if to say, we've got this. Taking a deep breath, Noah nodded. We're ready, he whispered. The warm-up area was bustling with other horses and their handlers. Some were seasoned competitors, their polished gear gleaming under the sun. Spirit, though not as sleek, stood out with his calm demeanor and the quiet bond he shared with Noah. Claire watched from the sidelines, her heart swelling with pride as Noah led Spirit through the warm-up exercises with steady confidence. When their names were called, Claire gave Noah an encouraging nod. The boy took a deep breath and led Spirit into the arena. The crowd fell silent as they entered, the sight of the small boy and the once fragile horse captivating everyone. Noah paused in the center of the arena, his eyes scanning the crowd before focusing entirely on Spirit. The announcer's voice broke the silence, recounting Spirit's journey from abandonment to recovery. This pair represents the extraordinary bond between humans and animals, and the healing power of compassion, he said. A murmur of admiration rippled through the audience. Noah gave Spirit a soft command, and the horse began to move. They walked, a simple pattern at first, but each step was deliberate and full of trust. When Noah gave the signal to trot, Spirit responded with grace, his movements fluid and confident. The audience watched in awe, captivated by the harmony between the boy and the horse. As they completed their routine, the crowd erupted into applause. Noah's face lit up with a rare, genuine smile, and Spirit tossed his head as if acknowledging the admiration. Claire wiped a tear from her cheek, overcome with emotion at how far they had come. Back at the trailer, people began to gather, eager to meet Noah and Spirit. A little girl approached, her eyes wide with wonder. "Can I pet him?" she asked shyly. Noah nodded, guiding her small hand to Spirit's nose as the girl giggled. Claire noticed Noah standing a little taller, his confidence growing with each interaction. Among the crowd was Mr. Harlan, who had encouraged them to participate. He tipped his head as he approached. "You two were incredible out there," he said. "I've been around horses my whole life, and I've never seen a bond like yours." Noah looked at him, his expression thoughtful. "He's my friend," he said simply. Mr. Harlan smiled. "That he is, son, and a mighty good one at that." As the day wound down, Claire reflected on the journey that had brought them here. Spirit had been a broken shell of a horse, and Noah had been a boy searching for connection. Together, they had found healing, strength, and a purpose that neither could have achieved alone. That evening, as they unloaded Spirit back at the farm, Noah whispered to him, "We did it." Spirit nickered softly, his warm breath brushing against Noah's cheek. Claire watched from the doorway, her heart full. "You've both come so far," she said, "and I couldn't be prouder." As they settled back into their routine, Claire couldn't help but wonder what new adventures lay ahead. The showcase had been a triumph, but it was clear that Spirit and Noah's journey was far from over. What doors would this extraordinary bond open next? The evening air was cool as Spirit settled into his stall, munching on fresh hay. Noah sat cross-legged outside the paddock, drawing in a notebook under the soft glow of the barn light. Claire leaned against the barn door, watching them both with a smile. The showcase had been a turning point, not just for Spirit's recovery, but for Noah's growth as well. The once shy boy now carried himself with a quiet confidence that radiated warmth and connection. As the weeks passed, word of Noah and Spirit's story spread throughout the community. People began visiting the farm, bringing small gifts for Spirit or simply coming to see the extraordinary pair that had inspired so many. Noah, who once avoided strangers, now greeted them with a shy but genuine smile. He eagerly told them about Spirit, pointing out the horse's favorite snacks and how he loved being brushed. One day, an envelope arrived in the mail. Claire opened it and gasped, her eyes scanning the contents. It was an invitation to a regional equine therapy conference. Attached was a handwritten note from the event organizer. "We heard about Noah and Spirit's incredible story. We would love for you to share your journey and inspire others with the healing power of animals." Claire approached Noah, the letter in hand. "Noah," she began gently, "there's a chance to tell your story about Spirit and how much he's changed your life. It's at a big event with lots of people, but they'll all be there because they want to hear about you and Spirit." Noah's brow furrowed as he considered her words. "Will Spirit be there too?" he asked quietly. Claire smiled and nodded. "Of course, you'd be together the whole time." Noah's hesitation melted into a small nod of agreement. "Okay," he said. "If Spirit comes with me over the next few weeks." Claire helped Noah prepare for the event. They practiced telling Spirit's story, starting with the day they found him in the abandoned paddock. As they rehearsed, Noah's voice grew stronger, his words more assured. Spirit seemed to sense the importance of their preparations, standing patiently beside Noah as he spoke. The day of the conference arrived, and Noah stood backstage, clutching Spirit's lead rope. Claire knelt beside him, her hands gently resting on his shoulders. "You've got this," she said softly. "Just speak from your heart like you always do." When it was their turn, Noah led Spirit onto the stage. The crowd fell silent, captivated by the sight of the boy and his horse. Noah took a deep breath and began to speak. "This is Spirit," he said, his voice steady. "When we found him, he was all alone, and so was I, but we helped each other. He made me brave, and I made him strong. Now we're best friends," as Noah continued. His words painted a vivid picture of their journey, how they had found each other, healed together, and grown into something greater than they could have imagined. By the time he finished, there wasn't a dry eye in the room. The audience erupted into applause, and Noah looked at Spirit, who nudged his shoulder gently, as if to say, "You did great." After the event, dozens of people approached them, sharing their own stories of struggle and hope. A woman in a wheelchair spoke about how horses had helped her regain her independence, while a young boy with a service dog talked about the comfort his animal brought him. Each story reinforced the incredible bond between humans and animals, and Noah listened to them all with quiet understanding. That night, back at the farm, Claire tucked Noah into bed and sat beside him for a moment. "You were amazing today," she said, brushing a strand of hair from his forehead. "Spirit's lucky to have you." Noah smiled sleepily. "I'm lucky to have him too." As Claire turned off the light and closed the door, she felt a deep sense of peace. Spirit and Noah had come so far, and their journey was far from over. Together they had proven that love, trust, and compassion could overcome even the deepest wounds. Whatever challenges lay ahead, Claire knew they would face them side by side. In the barn, Spirit stood quietly in his stall, his coat shining under the moonlight. He glanced toward the house as if sensing the boy who had saved him. At that moment, it was clear they had saved each other. The story of Spirit and Noah became a beacon of hope for their community and beyond, showing the transformative power of connection and resilience. Their bond reminded everyone that even in the darkest times, love and compassion could light the way to a brighter future. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Help us spread the message of love, resilience, and the incredible bonds we share with animals.